being kind of the nerd. I don't know, Abdallah, do you have any question?
Yeah, I think I have at least 3 questions. So the first one,
All right.
yeah, we know that it's challenging. It's not easy or accessible for anyone to just go into it. But one of the motivational factor, like we developers always tend to think is, what's the salary scale of a data engineer compared to other subdomains of IT?
Yeah, I think it's not bad. I really can't provide you data, right? Well, we see what's going on here on let's say Polish market. So it's one of the, like, on the top among software engineers. Data engineers are really very well paid usually, right? And I think the same applies to other markets that I have exposure to, like European markets or American markets. Is that, yeah, it's really, you can find really good opportunities to have a good earning, but I would start more humbly. So if you are starting this journey, I would rather say, all right, don't have too much expectations for, let's say, your first year. But if you get it and you can prove yourself, you can really be in a good position, right? But probably you know a little bit more how is that working on Mauritius market. But I see really a lot of good opportunities money wise for data engineers.
Yeah, very nice. A second question is, let's say tomorrow I want to get into data engineering. Is there a recognized ready-made certification available that I can take, or should I content myself with Udemy courses?
Yeah, well, honestly, I this is difficult for me to tell you, as it's so simple, it's so obvious, right? From my perspective, right? But yeah, we observe a lot in our work that we have people that we try to transform into data engineers. And we are trying to actually build some kind of a curriculum of what works, what not. And, of course, everybody is different. That's another thing. For me, whenever I learn a new thing, it's like I try to deliver something and be impactful as soon as possible, right? And I don't care that much about certificates, and trainings are only kind of a supplementary thing. So when you go and you on the project and you meet people, at least you understand the terms and you can have some conversation. But when it gets to the job, to getting the job done and delivering something, it's just practice, right? So how do you get practice, right? So we have a chicken and egg problem a little bit here. But I think companies like, at least those that we know very well here, kind of okay to bring you on without data engineering skills, or with some basic data engineering skills, but with good software engineering experience to get you working. And then you should really, and maybe that's what you should ask when you go for interview. Like, all right, am I gonna to jump on the project as soon as possible and have a great mentor there, right? That's something. I think that the best thing. So, but among those topics, and I think we can share, we have some notes here, right? Put together. Among those topics, topics we discussed, is just for you to figure out what's going to work for you. But this is the road is that, yes, SQL and Spark. That's something that I would advise you first. And there is plenty of courses. So if courses work for you, you go with that, right? For example, Databricks has also quite a lot of trainings, and they also can give you a certificate, right? You can go to become a Google Data Engineering certificate professional, or Azure Data Engineering certified professional path. It depends on you whether that works for you or not. That's good, of course. It's good to have something like that on your CV, but not always. It will not guarantee you the thing. So just like maybe doing some small projects yourself, just trying to play around with things will get you further. Then you hit the wall and say, all right, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. Then you may research your trainings, or, well, there are now quite few, for example, custom chat GPTs that are dedicated for example, PySpark, right? So you can get your chat GPT that will really teach you through and explain everything to you about the technology that you want to use.
Awesome. Just one last question. So some years back, I was very interested in getting into the field, but the observation I did was some jobs confuses data science, data analysis, and data engineer. So maybe you can enlighten us. What's the difference? Because each time I see these different job description, I think to myself, wow, are they not mixing some stuff in it?
Well, yeah, they could, right? We know how their recruitment processes work, right? There's somebody in a company that needs somebody, and they pass it through their recruitment department. Recruitment department is hiring recruitment agency that they have subcontractors. Eventually, you are contacted by a person that has no idea why. What are they talking about, right? That's not their job. So you eventually have to cut through all those things to get to the gist of what is there really needed. And that's sometimes hard. When I was like searching for a job some time ago, I remember I was asking, so what do you want me to do? Right. And they say, no, we just want a data architect. All right. But what do you really want me to do? Like, do you have a particular project, something to work with? Right. Then they don't know. And then you go through another levels, cutting through to figure out what's going on. But yes, back to your question. Of course, those things get mixed in, and then there's data management, data governance, master data management, data reference management, and plenty of other of those specialties. And yeah, you wouldn't expect a data engineer to be both data scientist or data analyst, everything in one place, right? So when we have a data analyst, data scientist, right? These are the people who rely strongly on what data engineering provides. So these are different things. And data analysts, we used to have data scientists like those that used machine learning, data mining tools, and data analysts are usually those that use some more classical tools that just to be able to visualize or give you some insights from the data. But they all rely on data engineering to provide the data and good engineering to make sure the data is fresh, up to the quality, right? We can also have really another call to discuss data quality. So that's where the data engineering comes in place. So yeah, probably they are mixing those things, right? Some of our data engineers are data analysts, right? We need to be some sort of a data analyst because if you want to engineer some data, you need to understand the data first. So you need to analyze them using some tools. We call it sometimes data profiling, but that's for us, right? We are not specializing in building some dashboards or reports for other people to use so they can, to help them with the work. So that's not exactly data engineering.
A quick scenario just went through my mind, and it's quite interesting. I will try to explain it as simple as possible. So I had a task a few months ago. There was a CSV file. So we got it from APIs providers for social media. And the file was very denormalized. And then let's say from your perspective, you get a CSV file with lots of different brands. Let's say they have each some different attributes. For example, to make it simple, we have likes, follows, people who are clicking on their call to actions. So you want to extract useful information with that. How would you proceed?
Useful information, right? So yeah, that's definitely something that you need to start with, actually identifying things, right? And that's also a big part of data engineering, that we are not, in most of the cases, we need to get out of the basement, right? As a data engineer, you just cannot sit there and expect like all the specification to come to you and you just put the code together and it works, right? You need to get out. You need to understand, all right, you give me some data, all right, what do you want out of this data, right? Then you look at that, all right, I see some anomalies in that data. Can you, people who provided that or people who actually want something out of the data, can you explain me what that data is about, right? So the first question is, if you send me a CSV file before I send it to my trash, all right, so what do you want out of that? If you don't know, then, well, I move on. I do something else. So specification and understanding and some business context is important. That's why data engineers need to go out and talk to people. And once you realize and somebody tells you, all right, I want to see how much that brand has, how many that brand gets likes. And I want to see that, split by geography, by customer segment, and maybe by product category, right? So then, all right, now we're talking, right? So you go back to the file and you check whether that data is there, and then you start doing some profiling. You can do it with Excel, no worries. And you try to figure out, there are also very fancy dedicated tools for that. Try to figure out, all right, I see that I have brand identification, I have some or store location, or it's maybe which say I have maybe a few internet stores, right? I'm still thinking in stores, physical stores, right? Who's really doing that anymore? And then I have some information about product category, but for example, I don't have information about what's the segment of the customer. I don't know what type of the customer is. Then I go back again and I talk to my stakeholders, right? But there's no information about the customer, and then they figure out, oh, really, it's not there. We may not be able to provide it to you. All right, so we change requirements. So then, of course, once I understand what's the CSV file and how that is connected to the requirements, to what I have to provide, what type of data I have to provide, and what capabilities I need to foster for those people to be able to do, then I just start working with this file. Really, like open the file. I use, let's say, I may go to some of the cloud, like let's say Azure, and I use signups or something else to open the file. But I can do it on my computer too. I open the file and I try to do some transformation and make sure that I extract the needed information, and probably I would rearrange the information to make it the best working for those people who analyze it, right? Because the information in the CSV file may be not very user-friendly, right? But I can rearrange that data into some sort of analytical model. Sometimes we use dimensional models for that. So when the people want to use it, for example, by some business intelligence or doing some analysis, they already have data that they can easily understand. And of course, there's some other processes like cleaning the data, removing duplicates, integrating the data, right? If you have like two CSV files and they talk about the same thing, but using different language, like different IDs, you probably want to have some mapping. For example, they send you the file with the customer information, right? But the way this other system identifies customer is different than how you see the identifier of the customer with your, let's say, clicks, likes, and other things. So you then work with them again to figure out how can you combine those information, right? So you do all that processing just to serve the data to your customer. Like we often use the comparison with restaurant, right? Is that the raw food comes in, but then some dirty stuff happens in the kitchen. Sometimes you don't want to see, right, how the kitchen works. But eventually you're very happy because the dish is ready for you, ready just to consume, right? So that's our goal as data engineers and then data analysts or people who build business intelligence to provide the whole solution for that. So data engineering is a big part of that whole pipeline of things that need to happen so people or machines can use the data further. Right. So anyway, that's how it started. But I think very important thing is before we jump into really doing something with the data to make sure that we really understand what's expected of us.
Nice. I really like this job description. I've done some minimal versions.
It's hard. It's hard. I get the people. Sometimes you a PM like one of the other guy on the call, all right, comes to you with some requirements, and then you are all right. But what do I have to do with that, right? And then you need to catch some experts to explain to you things, and that's difficult, right? But the good manager will help you with that.
Oh, that's very good. Very good. No, I have other questions, but I will leave it some other time because now the conversation is getting more and more interesting and I feel that we will never end. So let's end for today, at least for
let's have some time.
I think that's all. Thanks everyone.
All right. Thanks for having me here.